Welcome back to Politics Unplugged. The top political story of the week is the debate over what the president's calling his big, beautiful bill. As we tape on Thursday, we don't know its fate in the House. And here to talk about that and the rest of this week's headlines, Republican consultant Doug Cole and Democratic consultant Matt Grodsky. Thanks for being here, both of you guys. Let's start with the big, beautiful bill. You heard the governor express dire, grave warnings about what could happen to Arizona if this is enacted. And as we're talking right now, it looks like it's heading in that direction. She's talking about hundreds of thousands of people getting cut off of Medicaid, losing food assistance programs. State revenues could shrink from this and really damage the balanced budget. They passed their budgets in the future that they're going to put together. She says there's nothing the state can do about that. You've been a student of the executive arts for a long time. You've worked with governors. Is that true?
Well, when you talk about Arizona's Medicaid program, which is we refer to it as Access, it's a waiver program, and so everything that we do with that program has to go through a process with CMS, which is the federal agency that runs this. So there's not a lot of leeway, and we are an expansion state. So during the Affordable Care Act in the Obama administration, we expanded the Medicaid population eligibility here in Arizona. Now you got to realize a quarter of Arizonans are on Access, a quarter. And a third of those that live in rural areas that are adults, working age adults in rural Arizona, are also on Access. Last time I looked at the electoral map, and I know my Democrat colleague across the table here is absent Flagstaff and Bisbee, rural Arizona is pretty red MAGA. And so you take a third of that's when we're going to start seeing consequences. But as we all know, it has a delayed enactment, and that and those effects of these Medicaid changes will come after the midterm.
Yeah, and they're staggering the implementation of some of these things. So essentially what's going to happen is you're going to see tax cuts for working Americans, and most of those tax cuts, according to analysts, are going to benefit the wealthy. But what you're going to see is then after the midterms is when you start seeing the cuts to Medicaid and SNAP and those food programs like that. So is that kind of a tacit admission then that this carries some real political pitfalls for the Republican Party?
It's an overt admission, and then the big thing at the end of the day here is this bill is going to pass. This is going to pass. I know that as we sit here right now, Minority Leader Jeffries is in there talking and filibustering, but the reality is this is going to be law, and it's incumbent on Democrats to go out there until the midterms and tell the story of what this is going to do with the tax cuts for the wealthy and the folks that are going to eventually get stripped off of Medicaid. So it is an admission, and we're just going to have to make sure we tell that story.
And I think that was a Freudian slip when you said Speaker Jeffries, because history says, recent history says, of the last four midterms, the last five midterms of the sitting president's party has lost four of them.
Yep.
And in the last three, that has happened. So very well may be that the House will flip, because that's what's happened for the five last times.
Yep. And talk to us a little bit too about the economic impacts of this. We've had people on the show talk about if this bill was to pass again, it looks like it's going to. You could see rural hospitals shut down. Yeah. And if anybody who's traveled into rural Arizona knows that there's a lot of business that's built up around these hospitals. They're large employers. There's small businesses that go up around there. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, correct. I mean, today the employment numbers came out today.
Sure.
And they exceeded expectations, and it's been a banner week for the stock market. But if you dug down deep into what those increase in employment numbers said, the biggest growth sector was the healthcare industry sector. And so that states that that's a growth industry, but yet if these Medicaid cuts come through, then that's going to affect that sector, even though it's the biggest growth sector right now of employment.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the jobs report, because it's a good transition. I was going to ask Matt about this. A lot of sky is falling coming from Democrats and opponents of this bill. Is that warranted? Because for most of the year, all we've been hearing about is how the president's tariff policies is going to kickstart a recession. Yeah. So far, we haven't seen that. And again, as Doug mentioned, we saw 147,000 jobs added to the economy in the month of June. So it looks like the economy is humming right along despite some of the dire forecasts. Could the same be said about this?
I'm waiting for the revised reports, but remember, these things all operate on a delay, and we've seen the erratic, gyrating behavior of the economy for the last several months because of the erratic policies. So it's going to be a little delayed until we see the full breadth of the effects, but I think we still need to tell that story because the results are, it's still going to have colossal ramifications over the next year. It just might not feel it in the immediate months afterwards. So I think we need to keep talking about it.
Yeah, and we've got, some serious political consequences, some interesting votes to be watching. You know, particularly I'm looking at how is Juan Ciscomani, how is David Schweiker, two Republican congressmen in swing districts. How are they going to vote on this? It looks like they're probably going to vote for this. We'll have to wait and see. But they could face some political blowback on that. You've also got another congressman, Andy Biggs, who is who's running for governor. How would that play out with those types of candidates next year?
Well, they have to be very careful because those are, especially District 1 and District 6, those are the swing districts here in Arizona. And especially with Juan Ciscomani, his opponent the last two cycles has run against him on being more against more extreme policies through the MAGA, and chiefly on Medicaid and Medicare cuts. So he has no choice, though, but I would be stunned if he didn't vote for the bill, which it probably has happened by the time the show shows. But he has no choice but to vote for the bill. The question is, what comes later? What does he do if it's so apparent that it's going to cause rural hospitals in his district, which he has a huge rural district, what he does to protect those hospitals, not only for the folks that are showing up there, but who work there and all the industries that support those hospitals in rural Arizona.
Yeah, speaking of politics, we just talked to the governor. She is up for re-election. We all know that. How does this budget, this legislative session this year, set her up for next year as she looks to keep her job for another 4 years?
Yeah, well, in a state where we have a voter registration disadvantage between ourselves and Republicans, it's imperative.
That's not getting any better.
I know, it's getting worse.
In the state Democratic Party, that's in shambles right now.
Don't remind me, bud. Yeah. But yeah, no, she's got to highlight that she can pass a bipartisan budget, and she's done that. We've avoided a shutdown despite some of the shenanigans by other legislators in the legislature. So I think it helps her. But as the Democratic brand, as we head into next year, we need to tie this bill and their priorities to every Republican that's on the ballot, because that's our opportunity to persuade voters.
Yeah, and how do you think, let's end on this, how do you think the governor did this year? You know, it looks like they avoided a shutdown, a potential crisis of their own making. Yeah. But how do you think she did this year compared to the prior 2 years?
Well, I think she's growing into this job. I think that it was very wise of her to hitch her horse to the Senate Republicans, especially Senate President Warren Peterson, and get the budget done. And I think Warren Peterson, the Senate President, made an unbelievable speech on the floor and called out shock jocks and troll farms, and that passing a budget with just Republican is easy. He did the hard work. And I thought that was a turning point in the leadership of Warren Peterson with that speech.
All right, we'll have to wrap it there. That is all the time we have. Be sure to join us next week for more Politics Unplugged.